Hi, everyone. This is your host, Kristen Howe, with Manifest Everything Now, discovering the secrets to effortless manifestation, and I am excited to welcome you to our call with our guest today, Dr. Matt Mannino. Using the principles he now teaches, Dr. Matt built one of the largest solo chiropractic practices in the nation and was a millionaire by the age of 30. He's the founder of a faith-based personal achievement company and an expert and innovator in the neurosciences. Dr. Matt empowers people through a unique blend of the science of success and the supernatural laws that govern it. His system of personal transformation, quantum emergence, bridges the gap between intangible theories and down-to-earth how-to applications. He's passionate about helping people create immediate, permanent, and meaningful shifts in their reality while reaching a greater level of health, wealth, and life fulfillment. Now, on today's call with Dr. Matt, you will discover the real reason you don't have what you want in life. You'll discover the source of all of your beliefs, both the limiting beliefs and the supporting beliefs. You'll also discover how and why your limiting beliefs are formed. You'll find out the purpose and meaning of your emotions and how to know what they're trying to tell you. You'll also discover the 3 levels of being of manifestation and how to create immediate, sustainable, and meaningful change. And you'll find out the number 1 cause of all human suffering and how to correct it once and for all. I can't wait for this call. Dr. Matt, thank you so much for joining us today, and welcome.
Oh, you're so very welcome, Kristen. I've been looking forward to this opportunity. As I mentioned, I feel like a kid in a candy store whenever I have an opportunity to talk about how people can improve their lives and really tap into the power that's already in them. So I'm really looking forward to it.
I love that, and I love that your approach that you combine universal laws and all of that with success strategies, and I think that's so important. So I'm really excited to be able to share you. Can you give us a little bit of your story, some of your background of how you have come to this place, maybe some of the major turning points that allowed you to manifest your current level of success?
Absolutely, and I would say probably the main turning point was when I graduated from chiropractic school. It was a very interesting time because life's pretty well structured from the moment I woke up to the moment I went to bed with school and, classes and study and clinic. It was a pretty regimented 6 years. And all of a sudden, it was over. And, I had 2 pieces of paper, one that said I learned all this stuff, my degree, and then I had to get another piece of paper that said I was allowed to practice this called the license. But there was no guarantee with the education and all that I knew and all that I had been trained in that I was going to be successful. In fact, it was almost just the opposite. I was pretty stressed. There was a lot of anxiety around this, $80,000 in debt, and no real vision as to, okay, what am I going to do with this? So through a few very fortunate events and help with some family members, I was able to start my practice. And looking back, I see that the law of manifestation and attraction was at work very early. I just didn't know that I was doing it. And what really forced me to be intentional about it was this idea of success. And my experience, and I feel very fortunate, very blessed to have had that experience where in chiropractic school, the whole premise of the profession is based on trusting and literally reverencing this supernatural law of innate intelligence, that there's this power that made the body can heal the body. And they pretty much pounded it into our heads that, hey, you're not doing anything, so don't get all high and mighty about yourself. What you're doing is releasing interference. Your job is to find where the physical has impinged on the spiritual. Your job is to find that gap between spirit being and human being, and it's called the subluxation, and that nervous system is the container of this force, and you're to release it. The body does the rest. The power does the rest. It heals and repairs. So on one sense, pressure taken off my shoulders that, hey, I'm not doing the healing, the body is. And I took that concept and I said, okay, is this power, is this force, this unseen entity just for healing? Is it just for, manifesting health? Or can I also tap into it and use it for manifesting wealth? And so my personal journey was just that. It's like I didn't have any money. I was $80,000 in debt. I didn't have a marketing budget. None of the, let's say, techniques and strategies that people use to grow and build their business, I didn't have access to it. But I trusted this law. I trusted the supernatural. And that's where I put my faith in the Father, faith in the Creator that says, hey, you set up these laws that are much more effective than my intelligence, my willpower, my passion. And so let's put this thing to the test. And within 3 years, debt-free, another 5 years, top 1% in the world, seeing thousands of patients, multi-million-dollar clinic. And it wasn't me. I just activated this supernatural law that's here for everyone and is an inside-out game more than anything.
I love that, and I love that you said, you activated it and you basically got out of the way. You stopped the interference, so to speak. I think that's so
Remove
important.
the interference. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big deal because I think for people to hear that it's like this thing, this power is trying to work in your life, and there just might be some interference. So what would you say is the real reason that we don't have what we want in life?
It comes back to that idea of interference, Kristen. The key becomes, and when I speak in the public arena, that's the first thing I refer to is, hey, let's get connected with this law internally, and people can understand, I remove the interference, and this life flow, this energetic force begins to repair cells and tissues and organs all on its own, right? Mm-hmm. And it was always there. It was always accessible. It wasn't that we added anything. What we did was we removed the interference. And so when I talk now about symptoms in life, whether it's financial symptoms, relationship symptoms, business symptoms, whatever that thing that appears to be creating your pain, and here's a clue, I'm going to throw little gems and little pearls along the way. The nervous system can't differentiate between physical pain and emotional pain. The nervous system doesn't know if you were just hit in the head with a bat or someone said that we're closing down the business and we have to lay you off. Both are a traumatic insult. And so when we have these emotional symptoms in life, we have to realize that this situation or experience outside of us is a reflection of something that's going on inside. So the true cause, what we're really looking to address here is, why did that make me feel so bad? Why did I just get this knot in my stomach, lump in my throat, or my palms are sweating because I heard that very scary doctor report? Or why do I feel so bad that the economy's tanking, or I didn't close that sale, or whatever else? The key becomes to listen to your body, listen to those signs that your nervous system is trying to express that, hey, you're out of alignment. Right? And that's all a physical symptom is if we look at this as, hey, your body is not adapting appropriately to repair and heal this disease all on its own. Right? In the same way, if there's financial stress or relationship stress or anything that would cause a human being to experience what we call low-level frequency, a hurtful, painful, stressful emotion, that's the warning sign that says, hey, you're out of alignment. And at a deeper core level, with respect to your finances and relationships or whatever issue that was that you just heard, saw, or experienced that triggered it.
So therefore, and correct me if I'm wrong, that means we can use that as a signal that we're not in alignment, and then it's just a matter of where that then turns and goes awry, I guess, is then when we attach to it as truth. Does that make sense?
What ultimately happens, and this is, one of the things that I really specialize in, we bring that neuroscience component into, is just understand what your subconscious is trying to tell you. What's that language? So many people default to their intellect and their logic and their rational, reasonable mind to try to correct and fix their life issues. Well, first of all, that's not its job, and second of all, that's not where it came from. What I love about this series is that we've sort of gotten through that whole phase where people thought the law of attraction was more of a mental thing, and it was activated and evoked at a level of thought or want or need, where now people are realizing, hey, the subconscious mind is really the key determining factor of what is manifest and what shows up. And we know that's true because we've all had experiences, things have shown up in our life that we never gave one conscious thought to. It never popped in our head to get in that accident or lose the house or have this horrible diagnosis, right? I mean, things show up in our lives that if we really go here, say, hey, there's either a direct cause and effect relationship between me and what I'm experiencing or there isn't. And if there is, at some level of my consciousness, I attracted that. I manifested that. And because I didn't think about this backdoored me. This was a 180. And it could be both sides of the spectrum, a very tragic, horrible event, or a blessing that never in a million years you would have thought of. Both show up in our existence. Both show up in our reality. And the key becomes, if we didn't plan that thing, if we didn't have a conscious thought or intentionally try to manifest that, then what is this about? And it's the ones that really have the, as I say, stronger energetic component are the ones that we really need to pay attention to. How many people, have these blessings or these positive experiences occur in their life? And, they just attribute it to luck or coincidence or, the planets are in alignment and never really own the fact that, hey, based on results, I have a belief system that says I can attract and experience these things. I want to investigate that a little bit more. I want to find out what my subconscious was really thinking about when it manifested this thing. Because that's the other little caveat here. Your subconscious has really no clue what money is or what losing 20 pounds is or who your soulmate is. It doesn't have any understanding of the physical reality like the conscious mind does. And so that's one of the things right off the bat, that we know that when we try to fix our symptoms, fix the life issues based on a logical, rational approach, you've lost the game right there. Because the subconscious doesn't work rationally, logically, or reasonably. It works through symbols, it works through analogies, and works through energy. And so when an experience shows up in your life that has a very low energetic state to it, the first thing that you want to do is acknowledge that. And say, what I just heard, saw, experienced makes me feel really bad. Thank you, person, place, or thing, for bringing this to my attention. Now go away. I'm going to have a conversation with my subconscious to see what it was really thinking about. What is it trying to tell me with this experience that it just manifested? And in that lies the gift of, on a high energetic spectrum, knowing that this part was in alignment. On one hand, the subconscious is very so expansive and intricate that we'll never really fully comprehend it. But on the other side, it's really simple. It works in these dualities of you're in alignment, you're out of alignment. And the emotions will sort of confirm either way. But let's not leave it at that, I guess is what my point is. Let's dig deeper and say, okay, what does this represent? What does this teach me about myself? And true transformation allows you to utilize these laws to truly experience personal development, personal growth in a way that is sustainable and meaningful. And through, we call it a faith accident, it might work. It might produce that result, the very thing that they intended for. But have them do it again and have them be consistent and repetitive with it. The law of attraction can be, I believe our Creator gave it to us as a tool to assist us, to help us. Just like gravity, just like electricity, we use these laws every single day without giving a second thought to them. And it's never questioned, meaning if you flip the light switch on and the lights don't come on, you don't question electricity. You don't question the power. You begin to look at the components of that. And that's what I challenge my students in our community with is never question the law. Really get connected and trust this thing, that it's working 24/7. It never ends. It never stops. But it's in communication and rapport and harmony with your subconscious mind, not your conscious. And that's a big piece, and this becomes the journey. This becomes the experience. And the challenge is that it's because it's completely outside of your awareness. And to know really what's on its mind, it takes a process, and it takes commitment to learn why it attracted this, why it's keeping you from this. The only reason we don't get what we want, whether intentionally or if we put effort into it, it's because the subconscious doesn't think it's safe. It's not because you did something wrong or you don't deserve it or you're unworthy of it. Again, subconscious, really simple. The nervous system works on this basis of safety or threat. End of story. And if you want more money, you want more time, want more love, freedom, peace, joy, and it's not showing up at a core level, the subconscious has made an association to these things that perceive it as threatening. So the logical mind asks the question, how can peace and joy and love be a threat? And the key is, I don't know, go ask your subconscious. Meaning it, at its level of thinking, it's made an association with those areas and being perceived threatening. You know, I was at a multiple speaker event just last week, and one of the speakers was working with some muscle testing, which is probably the definitive test to ask and see what is going on in the subconscious. We use it all the time. But the question that he asked the participant was, do I love myself? And she tested weak. And he's like, okay, so you don't love yourself. And you saw this horrified look on this poor woman's face that she doesn't love herself at a subconscious level, right? And so he takes her through these tapping exercises and, you know, sort of reformats that energy and retests her again. And then she was strong. But you could still see that she was a little shook up, the fact that she didn't love herself. Well, when I got up, very tactfully, I said, the key, I want you to get connected with what was threatening to your subconscious was this idea of love. Not necessarily that you love or you don't love yourself, because it really doesn't understand that. It's not that smart. And at some level, we know that based on your test, it was threatened. And I guarantee you, if we tested that same statement, I love frogs, you would have gone weak on that. So it wasn't necessarily the association to you as it was the association to love. And you can just see your physiology change. And that's really ultimately the key, is understanding what's threatened, what is threatening to your subconscious, and what's safe. You know, when we talk about meaningful, immediate, and sustainable change, it's all about the environment. The subconscious works at lightning speed. Before you even can think of the thing that you're wanting to think about, the subconscious has made a decision. I'm threatened, I'm safe. You know, and we've had those experiences with the law of attraction when you think about a loved friend or a friend that you haven't even really, you know, heard from or talked to a while, and boom, guess who's calling you, right? I mean, it was that fast. Have you had those types of experiences?
Absolutely.
You know, you have that conscious thought, you're aware of what you just thought about, and then instant manifestation. Well, there's a law of attraction right there at its best. Okay, but now we think, okay, well, my soulmate and a millionaire and all these other things. Well, if those don't manifest equally as fast, then we know there's resistance, there's interference. At some level, the subconscious perceived threat. That's it. End of story. That's all you need to know. Not, oh, geez, I got to do more affirmations, or I have to spend more time with my meditation, visualization, and, you know, yoga posture. These things are all great, but in our system, we apply those things after the fact. After the threat's been removed, now tear it up. Now build and use every technique, modality, formula that you can get your hands on to edify, fortify. It's called neuroplasticity. Begin to rebuild these new neural pathways around safety and money, safety and relationships, safety in your career, right? And guess what? When that energetic frequency has been elevated and restored, the environment, your physical reality, has no choice but to adapt and accommodate itself to it. And again, there's just like, you know, your friend calling you instantly on the phone. Again, oh, is that coincidence, or is that just chance, or is that luck? Is there truly a cause and effect association between everything in the universe or not? And that's one of the things I challenge our community with is you got to make that decision. You got to make that choice right off the bat, or, we're sort of wasting our time,
Yeah, okay, so let me just quickly restate to make sure I'm on the same page and that everybody else is on the same page. So really the purpose and the meaning of our emotions is they tell us when we're out of alignment with something, and then the source of all of our beliefs, whether it's limiting beliefs or supporting beliefs, that's in our subconscious, and basically our limiting beliefs are formed because our subconscious perceives that it's not safe on some level to have the thing that you're thinking consciously you want to manifest. Am I on the right page?
Absolutely. And I have a great little story, and then we can come back. I was in a workshop and, was working with the students. I love engaging and processing, working through. And one of the exercises was money is. Just fill in the blank. Money is. And great exercise, a lot of good energy around it, some notices. And I was walking out, and a gentleman, pulled me over after. He said, I did the exercise, and I wrote money is pain. And I looked at that, and I said, why in the world did I write pain? He was like totally blown away that he wrote pain. But then, as I was processing and working with another participant, he realized that a memory that he had suppressed, a memory that he had not thought about until that moment, was when he was about 8 years old, which is a significant age when we talk about the formation of beliefs, period, was he just was, casual situation with mom and dad, and he heard mom ask dad for some grocery money, pretty innocent request, and then he witnessed his father proceed to beat his mother until she was laying unconscious, bleeding on the floor. They called 911, her mother was saved, everything was okay, but in that moment, would you perceive that as a very safe environment or a very threatening environment?
Yeah, threatening, obviously.
Yeah. And so threat, whether it's external or internal, is what triggers that subconscious. We call it fight or flight. And in that moment, the subconscious has to make a pretty quick decision. It says, this was pretty significant. This was pretty frightening. I need to remember this. And so it pretty much latches on to whatever is there to latch on to, and we call it associative learning. The subconscious in that moment, for him, said, money equals pain. Because the pain that he felt, the pain that he witnessed his mother experiencing, all around this idea of money. And this man, if you knew his history, he was an amazing executive coach. I mean, his gift, his genius was to be able to look at a business plan and business model and just tweak it and modify it in such a way that it just, he worked with multi-million-dollar companies, and he made millions of dollars personally. But because his subconscious was connected with this idea that money equals pain, it set up the self-sabotage that says, well, in order for me to get rid of, my pain in life, I got to get rid of my money. So he had nothing to show for it. And so this is that scenario where limiting beliefs get such a bad rap, and it's not their fault. His nervous system was simply attempting to protect him, but that energetic association to money was now responsible in a weird, sort of distorted way, was trying to keep him safe from that pain again by keeping him away from all his money, which creates a whole other set of symptoms, right? That's an example of what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's a perfect example. And I want to get into the 3 levels of being with manifestation. But before we do, because I know everybody's going to be like, you have to ask this question. You say there's the number 1 cause of all human suffering. And what is that? And how do we correct it once and for all? And I'm guessing it will tie into the 3 levels of being with manifestation, but I could be wrong. So what is that number 1 cause of all human suffering?
So to sort of prep that one. So what we're realizing is that, once again, there's 2 basic drives. When we look at the psychological drive, the nervous system says, my job is to keep you alive, all right? It is survival. Your heartbeat, your lungs breathing. There's also some research around this idea of survival of species, right? And that's the physical component. The psychological component, the number 1 human drive, is to make sure you behave consistently with the belief you have about yourself. So here's the other piece of this. You don't have limiting beliefs around money, finance, work, relationships you don't have beliefs about anything in the physical reality because the subconscious doesn't know what those things are. So you can't have a belief about money or wealth or prosperity because it doesn't know what it is. You only have one belief system, and that's what you think about you. The only thing on your subconscious's mind is, what do I think about me? Who am I? Am I valuable? Am I lovable? Am I connected? And so ultimately, the number one cause of all human suffering is a distorted, inaccurate self-perception at a subconscious level.
Wow. That makes so much sense. And it's funny, as you were saying that, a light bulb went off, and I was like, oh, that's why so many people, I, for one, am included in this. I can look at the different areas of my life, so wealth and relationships and health and all, and I can find sort of a through line pattern. Well, that makes sense because if, what you're saying is the subconscious mind doesn't differentiate between those. It's just literally, okay, I believe this about you, so therefore it's going to show up everywhere. Is that right?
That's absolutely correct. So again, it doesn't care. What I tell people is your physical reality is nothing more than your subconscious mind's best attempt to express itself. And so it can make you feel unworthy because you just went through a foreclosure bankruptcy, or it can make you feel unworthy because your spouse left you. It really doesn't care. It really doesn't matter as long as your reality reflects this dominant energy, and the dominant energy is always self-perception. And so the ultimate key becomes, and in the personal development world, it's a word that they use a lot, your higher self and your true self, your more authentic self, and your higher consciousness. And the question I had is, okay, how do I know what that is? Great concept, right. Great theory, but how do I know when I've actually tapped into that? And through the work that I've done over the 20 years in neurosciences and just working literally, with thousands of people, I've identified 9 very specific core human themes that represent or symbolize our human experience, meaning as long as you're in a body and because you have that nervous system, and we celebrate our nervous system, we live our life through our nervous system, but it's also the very thing that creates all our pain and stress, too.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying? That's what houses our limiting beliefs, but once again, your belief system doesn't know it's limiting. That's a judgment that your conscious mind put on it. So, as I tell people, don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. Don't try to reprogram, reset, reformat, reframe your beliefs until you find out what it was trying to protect in the first place. So that's all it was trying to do. It thinks it's doing a great job for you by keeping you broke and lonely and sick. Right? Again, logically, it doesn't make any sense, but it makes perfect sense to the subconscious if it perceives you as, again, not loved, unworthy, and disconnected.
Okay, so what do we do? Okay, now we're all like, okay, Dr. Matt, I got it. That's completely resonating. What do we do now so that we can shift that perception that we have of ourselves that is limiting ourselves?
And that's my community. That's always where they go first. And there's a great deal of value and a great deal of potential growth just hanging with that statement. And I know that's hard for the logical mind. No, I want to create change and move it forward. But just sort of sit with that and say, okay, I only have one belief system, and it's about me, what I think about me. And if we were able to create alignment and get an accurate self-perception, then the subconscious would have no choice but to resonate at a higher level, express a higher expanded frequency of who I am, and my environment, my reality, the physical material world must accommodate now to reflect that thing. And now it becomes easy. Now manifestation becomes fun because you don't even really know what's going to show up. I tell people, when you're really in the zone, the Bible talks about God, our Creator, wants to bless us exceedingly abundantly above anything we could ever consciously come up with. And that's the law at its best. So ultimately the key becomes that awareness and just staying on those 3 components, because all human suffering, the 3 the three fears to mankind are pure rejection, public humiliation, and death. And that translates to this loss and harm. Well, when we look at a psychological level, now the three aspects deal with I don't belong, I'm unworthy, and I'm not loved. So all negative, energetic states the human being can experience are rooted in those three things. And so to flip that and look at this, how do we begin to embrace the opposite frequency of manifestation? This first level would be this hope and expectation. This hope and expectation, does this law work? My Creator wants these things for me. And again, it's not even that it's outside of you, it's already inside. Just like when I tell my patients, the power that you need to heal, repair, restore, renew your cells and tissues is already inside you. It's just being blocked and interfered with. And when we remove that interference on the psychological side, it's seeing your truth, knowing who you truly are. That's ultimately the interference that we're attempting to remove, because at some level your subconscious thinks something inaccurate about you, right?
Right.
Then this next level is this expectation that it's on its way. First this hope that it's possible. Secondly is this expectation that it's on its way. And the highest level, and this is always a little tricky, because your belief system is another little pearl on the subconscious, is that it only works in the now moment. It only understands and relates to things that are happening right now. Again, based on its operating system, it only cares if you're threatened right now. If you say, I'm worried about what's going to happen 10 days from now, that doesn't get it excited, right? But if you just heard the words, you're fired, or you lost your job, or you got cancer, 5-alarm fire goes off. So in the same way, when we reverse engineer manifestation, the trick becomes, how do I enter a state of being that says I already have this thing, that it's in my hand, right? There's a different nuance of placing your order on eBay, right? No question that the thing is coming. You don't call eBay the next day and say, hey, did you get my order? I'm just checking, right? You know it's coming, and you're excited, and you prepare and all that. But it's a whole different, there's no more excitement when it shows up in your hand, in the mailbox, right? That's the state of being that we're after, and that's the only one that the law of attraction really, really will respond to. And so until you access that, it's a waiting game. And that's why there's that delay. It's not that, you're doing something wrong, you're not meditating or affirming or whatever your modalities aren't working. It's just your subconscious hasn't bought into the fact that you have accepted its presence and it's real, right? And as soon as it gets that, it'll show up like a miracle.
Wow. I love that. I think, it's so powerful, and this is all just resonating in a very deep level, so I'm very appreciative of how you're sharing everything. I know that you were going to take us through, which I'm very excited about, an energy clearing process. Is that something that we could do right now?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's something that I think, the listeners can use over and over again. And I think the key with the work that I do is, I always say it's holistic. We want to engage all parts of your being, your body, soul, and spirit. And I've seen some, it's all about your physiology. It's all about your belief system. It's all about, being very clear at what you want and specific. These are all important, but to bring them together and allow your being to operate in integrity with each other. I mean, talk about stress. We talk about the number one cause for human suffering is when you have this distorted belief about yourself. And the number one cause of stress is when you're out of integrity with yourself. And people can induce that all the time by wanting, more time, more money, more love, more freedom. Then those are great desires, and we completely get why your conscious mind would come up with that. But if your subconscious mind is threatened by it, man, you're out of integrity, and you're at a neurological level in fight or flight. So the key with this exercise is basically to look at one of the components, there's actually 4 components of a limiting belief. And this is what we call the energetic component. It's the easiest one to access, and it deals with emotion. And so the key becomes accessing that. So if you'd like to just maybe bring up, a situation or circumstance or an experience, and whether it's something that was recent or something that seems to be sort of lagging. But what we're after is that lower energetic state, whether, the names that the conscious mind puts these things are fear and worry and anger and sadness. Whatever word or label you want to put on it, the key is to just bring it up right now. And at whatever level that it might be, just sort of let me know when you've accessed that. And it could be, again, something recently that happened or just something that's been sort of gnawing at you for a little bit. But when you've accessed that, let me know.
Okay.
And so we want to engage the body and see where this energy might be holding on to it. So now just sort of feel where it's showing up. What part of your body, what part of your physiology does it seem to be emanating from? Where would you say?
It is in my lower back.
Lower back, great.
Mm-hmm.
And so the feeling is real, the emotion is real, your body is responding and letting you know that it's real. And really, Kristen, this is when I work with my students, this is the only thing that really is real. The situation or circumstance that you may be relating to or you feel has caused this emotion or energy is an illusion. As we said, nothing shows up in the physical, tangible realm that it doesn't have an energetic source to it. And since it's in your reality, it's got to be part of your energy. And so now we're looking at a cause and effect from the inside out, as we talked about. So as you put your attention and focus on that, just let it know that you are fully and completely aware of it, because in part that's its job too. It's been trying to get your attention. Whether it's physical pain or emotional pain, again, the body, it's a great thing to have. It's a great thing when the body lets us know we're out of alignment, and it needs our attention, it needs our focus and time. So just see it and put a spotlight on it so that it's all exposed. There's nothing hidden. There's nothing hiding from you. Take a 360-degree up and around and get a feel of its shape and size. If there's a contour, is it rugged or jagged or smooth? Is there a color? Just get fully aware and fully present of this energy and where it is, what it looks like and feels like. And now that you're connecting with it, fully exposed, you're communicating with it, it knows that you know of it. Nothing is hidden anymore. Realize that because of its nature, because that it has a lower energetic state, we know that can only exist as a result of being connected with something that's not true about you. And it's been trying to get your attention. It's been trying to make you aware of it so that you can heal and complete and begin to grow, because this has been interference. This has been part of what's been holding you back, because your nervous system is very smart too. It won't let you grow and take on more in your life if you haven't completed these past experiences, if you haven't learned lessons and haven't gained that awareness. And so in this moment, whether you're fully aware of its origin or not, you're fully aware of its presence, and you know why it's there. It's been trying to keep you safe, trying to protect you, tried to warn you. And now that you're aware of it, you can take over. You don't need that energy anymore. You can thank it. You know that it's done a good job, but you're ready to move on, and you're ready to expand and grow and allow new energy, more expansive energy to take its place. And so as you are fully aware of it and have fully received it, now you can let it go, because at some level, unconsciously, subconsciously, you created it, but now intentionally you can let it go. So begin to see it disintegrate, break up, become smaller and smaller, losing its power, losing its energy, losing its effect, because now it knows you're aware of it, it's done its job, it is no longer needed. And unless you allow it to depart and let it go, you won't be able to replace it with that higher, more expansive energy that you were born and created to express. And so as you continue to see it and feel it disintegrate and break up and break apart, when there's no more energy, when the feeling in your back is completely resolved, when you see it clearly gone and dissipate in your mind's eye, let me know.
Okay.
Awesome. How's that feel?
Open.
What else?
I think that's the best way to describe it. Open, light. Emotionally, it feels like a relief. But physically, it just feels open and light. It feels flexible.
Very cool. Yeah, so this is part of our protective warning mechanism. You know, I'd love for your community and everybody on the call to sort of begin to see, you know, some new thought about beliefs and subconscious, and man, it's there for our own good if we just really understood, you know, what it's trying to tell us and how it's helping us and how it's serving us, but also realize that it works on a very rudimentary level, that it doesn't have the training and the skill and the logic and the reason that the conscious mind has. And so when you allow those two to work together, when you allow yourself to be in integrity with yourself, body, soul, and spirit, man, that's when the magic happens. And it happens at a level that will exceed your wildest expectations. So good for you. Congratulations.
Wow, that's amazing. I'm literally like twisting around right now going, oh, wait, it really doesn't hurt.
Right on.
That's very exciting. Yeah, no, that's amazing, and I love that you did that, and you're right. People can absolutely do that, you know, along with you sort of walking me through it. So I love how you did that, because it really allows for everybody to have their own experience with it. And I can see how powerful that is, because it is. I even love the, like, acknowledging it and being like, you know, thank you so much. There's an appreciation of that I think is freeing as well, because it frees us from that, I don't know, that part of us that thinks we have to judge it for holding us back or whatever. So thank you.
Absolutely.
That was a really, really wonderful experience. And, you know, I'm curious, because as we have these experiences and everything that you're sharing, which is resonating at such a fantastic and deep level, you know, it makes me go, ooh, okay, this guy's really, you know, you're so authentic and you're so genuine, and so that's really exciting. Can you take a few minutes and just share with us some of the turnarounds that you've seen from people who have applied what you're teaching and what you're working with them on?
Oh yeah, I mean there's so many, and you know, I'm blessed to have the experience where I work with people on so many different levels. Our seminars, which are experiential, and that one-on-one, face-to-face engagement is so powerful, and then just the community feel. But even with coaching, and just the other day we had an experience with a doc that I work with, and you know, that's what I'm saying. Your subconscious mind doesn't know your profession, it doesn't know your degree, it doesn't know how smart you are. Doesn't know how rich or poor, you know. It'll take you down just as fast as someone who's never learned anything, you know. It's all based on that. And so, yeah, here's a doc who supposedly should be making millions, and he called me the other day. He's been in practice for about 15 years and had a record-breaking collection week. And this was after a coaching call that we had, and it was really just a matter of, you know, just accessing some behaviors that he saw his dad perform. When his dad was stressed out, he would go and start piddling around in the yard, and he got that association and his nervous system picked that up. When you're stressed, you go piddle in the yard, and he found himself defaulting to that behavior when he should have been in the office, when he should have been handling some of these things. He felt stressed. That behavior kicked in, and so then we just got to the root of, well, why is that stressful, right? So, yeah, that was pretty cool. Just got that call the other day. And, just in the same way, when you become in alignment with yourself, the things that show up and the things that happen, sometimes I get away. I don't even really tell people set goals because there's a limitation. The goal usually is you thought of that with your head. And, again, we know that our head creates more problems than it fixes, but the idea is let your heart manifest. And what does it need? And another session I was working with a student, and this was unbeknownst to me, but she had been scheduled for like a third surgery to help remove scar tissue from her abdomen. And I didn't know this till after her session, but basically in her session we uncovered some very traumatic experiences she had as a child with her father. And anytime she told this story, her confession and affirmation was, it left me scarred. And after her breakthrough, and again, the surgeons didn't know why her body was producing all this scar tissue, and they would go in and try to remove scar tissue, which would just only create more scar tissue. But the pre-op exams found no scar tissue in her abdomen after her breakthrough.
Wow.
Yeah. So talk about an immediate restoration physically from having a breakthrough and allowing the perception she had about herself from what happened to her as a young girl instantly change. And again, it wasn't reframing what happened to her and finding a better way to think about that. It was the truth about that, right?
Right.
And it was very, very, very cool. And I've had another gentleman, this experience was literally created so much negative energy, brought him to the point of potential suicide because he just couldn't bear. It was something that he did and found some things that, were in his history that motivated that behavior. But once he found his truth, it was something that not only does this experience create pain anymore, it brings him empowerment. It brings him joy. It brings him closer to his creator. It was a very dramatic shift and happened in one of our seminars. So this sort of proves this idea of duality, is that your deepest, darkest pain and hurt can only be there if there's a very expansive love, joy, and peace that's waiting on the other side. All the more reason to find out what it's about versus just trying to cover it up or run away from it.
I love that, and I love how you just put that, because that makes it exciting, and it makes you go, oh, wow, these things that I feel like I've been running from, if I embrace them and realize that means there's that much, positiveness to fill up that space as well, that's really empowering, and that's what I'm doing here. That's why I'm excited about being here with these amazing people listening, and that's why I asked you to create a special offer for everybody who's listening. So everyone, I highly encourage you. I'm going to give you the link. Go to the link that I give you right now, and then Dr. Matt is going to talk you through what you'll find there, because he created a really extraordinary special offer for you. So everyone, go to www.manifesteverythingnow.com/holistic, spelled HOLISTIC. Again, go to manifesteverythingnow.com/holistic, spelled HOLISTIC. And Dr. Matt, can you talk us through what we'll find there?
Oh, absolutely. And you talked about your purpose and just this amazing community of people that you brought together. And I would say, when I look at myself, the greatest gift and benefit that I can bring to people is really helping correct the cause of their life issues, whether it's physically, emotionally, spiritually, and sort of just pull back and go behind the scenes to what's going on. So what I put together, I pulled some very, very special aspects of the quantum emergence system for your community, specifically around manifestation. And my program is called the Holistic Manifestation Method. And holistic, staying with this theme of body, soul, and spirit, let's engage all parts of you in, creating this life that you were created to live. And it becomes a natural process. It becomes a simple process. It becomes a process where, again, I think the best way that I can honor God and thank him is by using his laws, using the tools that he's given me. So to me, law of attraction, it's not a novelty. It's not a fad. It's not something, let me try it because I'm stressed or I need money. It's something to live by. And so we want all parts of your being to be engaged. So the first one, it's a 5-step formula that does just that, and it's based on this, okay, if we're going to create immediate, permanent, and meaningful change, the environment has to be right for that subconscious, which is safety. It has to feel good and okay. You need to have that green light about more money, more time, more freedom, more love, whatever, right? Without judging it, it's like, well, why do you think money's bad? It doesn't matter. It got that link somewhere, right? And so it takes you through this 5-step process to engage your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, and your behavior. So head, heart, and habits takes you through that. And again, the focus is creating this environment that allows for change. And yeah, it challenges you to come up with these areas of life that you want to manifest, but with an open door that says, hey, there may be something better that shows up. It also includes the holistic manifestation strategy. So, when I'm in the seats, when I'm the student, that's the first thing is, okay, how do I do this and how does it work and why this versus that? So the strategy is a beautiful menu, in my opinion, that basically takes the best of the best, all the cutting-edge techniques that are out there, NLP, your tapping, your EFT, your visualization, meditation, whole brain synchronization, audio, subliminal audio, all the technologies and techniques and formulas that exist. I just sort of give you a menu as to, a structure and a guideline to when to use them and how most effectively to use them. I mean, there was a study done in the University of Ottawa in Canada that found that if your subconscious mind is threatened by an affirmation, that thing puts you in fight or flight, and that puts you further away from your goals. How many people just take affirmations and formulate them with their head versus, is this okay that I say this? Ask the heart. And then, when's the ideal time to do an affirmation versus a meditation versus listen to your subliminal videos? So keep it simple, 10 minutes, 3 times a day. The toughest thing whenever, we're challenged with creating this change is doing it because we are creatures of habit. And again, change is the most threatening thing to your nervous system. So it's gonna fight and tooth and nail for you to sit down for an hour, half an hour to reprogram your subconscious. So 10 minutes at a time is all you need. So it takes you through that. It's a great resource. It's not, an all-inclusive resource, but there's about 25 different techniques in there. The other thing that I have also included was 2 trainings that we did. It's called Mind Your Money and Mind Your Business. And it was very popular, very well received because I took a subconscious viewpoint of your money and your business. What does your subconscious mind think about it? Since it doesn't know what money is and it doesn't know what customers are and marketing and branding and everything else you've been doing to make more money, what does it resonate with? And what should you be thinking and saying to engage it to help you with these areas? So very, very well received. And again, my goal is to present some new thoughts, some new ideas and new perceptions about how to manifest and grow your business that maybe you haven't heard of. And so it's a great, great training. And then lastly, a little bonus item, my top 10 mind and emotional mastery techniques. So this is something you can use immediately. We know neuroscience research, we got about 50 to 60,000 thoughts a day. The untrained, undisciplined mind, 95% are the same thoughts you had the day before, and 80% of them are negative, non-supportive thoughts. So we need to, as I say, when you master your mind, you master your life. And so these are things people can use immediately. There's 10 techniques altogether, and there's 5 bonus techniques on how to manage and overcome and eliminate fear. So very cool. And then I get into levels of consciousness and talk a little bit about the science of the law of attraction. It's a great report, great study.
Wow, amazing. Okay, so when people start working with this, and I love, by the way, that you broke it down like where you're like 10 minutes a day, because that's doable. And I love that because then people will actually do it. So when they start working with this, what are some of the benefits that people could expect to start experiencing like right away?
right away is this expansiveness, this idea of your subconscious. It's almost like, the pain or the stress, because we're going to say, when you say, I want this, I appear to be lacking this. Based on my sensory input, it seems like I don't have this thing in my life, right? And that sets up this whole negative feedback cycle, because at a heart level, an intuitive level, your heart knows that that's wrong. Your heart already knows, no, you do have that. You are that thing. It just, you got this distorted perception. And so this program allows that conversation or that environment to be in place that just opens up. As you mentioned, I felt, a little freedom, a little light-sidedness, that weight comes off your shoulders. So that, I think, is immediate. And then as far as, I've seen people create immediate results. Again, as soon as the subconscious perceives safety, that thing's going to show up. That thing will manifest and again, usually bigger and better than what you thought. And so be patient with yourself. Be gentle with yourself with that, too. What do people do? Oh, it's not working. I did all the steps and it's taking, start judging. It's just like, well, I flipped the light switch on and the lights didn't come on. Do you get all stressed out about that? No. You say, okay, obviously there's a wire broke or bulb's out, and no negative energy around it. So the goal is to stay in those states of being, hope, expectation, and I got it.
I love that. That's the beginning of everything. That's the seeds of possibility in that. That's amazing. Okay, so everyone, I'm going to give you the link one more time, and then we're going to get Dr. Matt's sort of final words of brilliance to send us off with. Again, that link, go to www.manifesteverythingnow.com/holistic, spelled HOLISTIC. That's manifesteverythingnow.com/holistic, spelled HOLISTIC. Dr. Matt, thank you so much. I just love your energy. I love how you communicate this stuff. It's so straightforward, and it makes us, at least, and I'm going to speak for people here, but I was like, oh, yeah, it was making light bulbs go off, but in a way that it resonated and felt right, I think is the best way to put it. So I really appreciate that, because that's something that we can then go and, just have that feeling of that and that sense of that, and have your words sort of with us, and with that already, transformation is beginning. What are some final words that you'd like to share with us today?
Well, I really appreciate what you said. That really resonates strongly, and ultimately that's the goal, is that breakthrough is always possible. Our community is founded in breakthrough, and it is. It's a new awareness. It's the next level, knowing that the Father created us whole and perfect. He didn't make any mistakes, and we got this thing called the nervous system that's really done a wonderful job in keeping us safe by keeping us the same. And when we just work with it and understand it, that the Master came to say, he said, I've come so that you might have life and life more abundantly. So it's our nature to want more of everything, which is a good thing. Never feel guilty or ashamed that you want more time, money, freedom, love. That is our nature. It is a natural expression of who we are. And when we obey and respect and utilize the laws that He's given us to allow that to happen, then we're in synchrony. Then we're in harmony with nature, creation, ourselves, the people around us. And so, this becomes a very exciting endeavor, and never to be one that would, create stress or any negative feelings at all, and, hopefully even give a whole new perspective on the meaning to those areas too.
Fantastic. I love it. Such a great way to experience it, and I'm excited for what I know, this extraordinary group of people who, by the way, thank you all for being here. I just love that I get to share this time with you. I'm really excited for what they're going to be able to experience as a direct result of this call with you. So thank you, everyone, for being here, and thank you, Dr. Matt, for everything you've shared with us.
You're so welcome.
And until the next time, everyone, keep manifesting. Bye-bye, all. 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 manifesting. Bye-bye, all.